50 years ago this summer, Dr. Martin Luther King led the March on Washington, gave the I Have a Dream speech, and two young idealistic kids in that crowd were Joan Mulholland and Reginald Green. They also happened to be, as you said, freedom riders. These are the brave civil rights workers who went down into the deep segregated South to test those Jim Crow laws in the face of progress, much at the risk of not only being jailed but beaten by mobs while the cops stood still, or in the case of Medgar Evers, even death. So it was really emotional 4 years ago when we had Joan and Reginald give their thoughts right here after the inauguration of Barack Obama. What are your thoughts? You were both here. You watched Dr. King speak right in front of this monument so many years ago, and Barack Obama just inaugurated.
The magnitude of this event is in fact a culmination of a lot of sacrifice, struggle, commitment, and devotion to human dignity and worth. And to be able to see in my lifetime, particularly as an African American, to see a young man become the 44th president of the United States of America is itself a statement of a miracle, or perhaps the dreams of so many gone on before, whose shoulders he now stands, and who has a vision of a better America, the America that Martin King talked about as the blessed community.
Well, this picture was taken actually a couple months before Barack Obama was born, and I just can't get over the comparison then and now. Reverend Reginald Green, good to see you again. Hello, Joan. Hello. Every 4 years, we're making this a tradition.
You promise?
Why not keep it up?
Yes. So what are your thoughts 4 years later? How goes your fight that you committed yourselves to back in those days? What is the state, you think, on Martin Luther King Day of racial relations in America, Joan?
It's an ongoing struggle, but the fact that Obama could be elected again shows that the stone of hope came out of the mountain of despair that King spoke of, and there is hope. It's moving on.
Reverend Green, assess the first term, if you can. Is there anything you wish he had done differently?
Well, I'm sure there are many things many of us wish he could have done differently, but we understood what he came into, all that he had to deal with, the economy, the housing crisis, the wars we were dealing with. But when you think about the 4 year in total perspective, then you got to give some great credit to what he's been able to do in spite of all that he's had to deal with. What I like to see, understand what's happened is I see this as a kind of unfolding drama, continuing with the Barack Obama, the President Obama legacy and work, to say that this country is at least moving towards that beloved community that Martin talked about, but at the same time still having much work to be done. So I give him great credit for what he's been able to achieve.
And I know, Joan, you reacted strongly to the line in the speech talking about the lines at the polling places. That is yet another chapter in the struggle for that equality.
Yes, and my state of Virginia was with the longest lines, I believe. And so the right to vote has to be more than a theory. It has to be a practical reality, and we're getting there. And
was it as emotional today for both of you?
For me, the emotional part was to see Mrs. Evers delivering the invocation. I mean, we look back at 63, 50 years ago as this great I Have a Dream speech and moment of joy, but it was truly a mountain of despair with the assassination of Medgar and the police dogs and fire hoses in Birmingham, and then just 2 weeks after the March on Washington, those 4 girls who died in the church bombing in Birmingham, and 2 months after that, the president was assassinated. We needed that stone of hope to carry us forward, but we mustn't forget the others, what it took to get us here.
Well, to the young people, these are stories from history books, but you are living proof of the sacrifices made. It was great to revisit this with you both again.
One thing I would like to add as we're here talking is I'm hoping at least during this next 4 years, this last term of the president, some focus can be given to the District of Columbia in terms of understanding that we still don't have total autonomy as residents of the district. We still don't have control over not having approval to deal with our budgets and so forth. So I'm hoping the president will have some opportunity to deal with that issue.
He used the taxation without representation plates on the parade route today. So always a cause to fight for. Reverend Green, Joan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you in 4 years.